Okay, the glare in my glasses is kind of awful, but that's okay. It's a review, so you gotta look smart while you're talking about things. Hey guys, it's Spooky Boots here, and today we are going to be talking about the USD Aeon Richie Eisler Pro Model skate. This is a 60mm skate, and I am really late to the review. The main reason is because this is the first skate that I skated flat with. Up until very recently, I wasn't really confident talking about or reviewing the skate because I learned skating flat in the skate, and I wasn't 100% with my skating flat abilities to review this 4 months in, 6 months in, even 8 months in. I am about to make my own sole plates for this skate, so I kind of want to review the skate before I modify it substantially like that, just to avoid confusion. Like if people are like, did it come with those sole plates? No. So let's go ahead and talk about this skate. Now, I do want to say that I cannot find this anywhere. I just checked all the websites. I checked Roller Warehouse, Inline Warehouse. I checked Loco. I don't think I checked Oak City, but I'm pretty sure everyone is sold out of this skate. I think I even looked on eBay and I wasn't seeing any. But that's okay, because if you review one Aeon, you've kind of reviewed them all. There are differences between this and the basics, obviously, the USD Aeon Basic 60. But other than, some minor upgrades, I think even now, if you get the most recent Aeon to come out, which is the USD Aeon Team 21, so XX1, it's almost the same, except, the Aeon, they're now doing like aluminum core wheels, and the cuff is rockerable up and down. And I think, obviously, there's a few other differences. I don't know what liner the new ones come with, but like I said, if you review one Aeon, you've kind of reviewed them all. With all that said, let's go ahead and start talking about the skate. So I want to first start with the wheels. I want to tell you guys that I never skated the stock wheels completely flat. Instead, when I got the skate, I instantly took out wheels 1 and 4 and switched them out with, I think it was the Undercover Foodie wheel, 60mm. So that means with these wheels being, well, first I'll tell you what they are. I have some here from the other skate that are propping it up. So these are, they say Richie Eisler on them. That's all they got, is just his name. Let's see if I can, there we go. So they say they got his name on them. They got the little Canadian maple leaf. I think that's what that is. It's kind of worn away now. Yeah, because I think Richie Eisler's Canadian, but I'm not 100% sure. So these are 61mm and 88A. So when I immediately took out 1 and 4, I put a smaller wheel in, 60mm. So there was a 1mm rocker between the 4 wheels. And that means I put more stress and more weight on only 2 wheels, and those wheels being the stock wheels. And I will tell you guys that I am super impressed with how the stock wheels held up. And I actually liked them so much that when I replaced the outside wheels after wear, a long time of wear and tear, I kept the inside wheels, but I just switched them out with the wheels that I took out initially. So I had the same setup again. I had the stock 61mm wheels on the inside and then a smaller 60mm wheel on the outside. That's how much I love them. And that's kind of rare because I feel like stock wheels, they just suck, like 9 times out of 10, they're awful. They chunk and they decore and they wear away quickly. For 88A wheels and me just putting most of my weight on just 2 of those wheels at a time, they held up for quite a while. I am kind of like, I have like a little bit of like OCD when it comes to wheel maintenance. So almost after every sometimes 1, but most of the time 2 sessions, I flip my wheels. I know most people don't do that. I know you kind of put a hard edge in them and then you flip them, but I never like the way that feels after you let them wear down for a while and then you flip them. It feels all squirrely and weird. So I almost wore these wheels down as evenly as I could by flipping them every other session. So, there is that to consider, but they still held up amazingly for stock wheels. Now let's talk about the frames. If you guys are not familiar with the USD Aeon, it's a one-piece mold. So the boot here, other than the cuff, the boot, the sole plate, and the frame are all poured in the same mold, or I don't know how they do it, but it's all the same piece. So if you have a frame that you are sitting on and you're looking to buy a pair of skates, don't get this skate because you can't take this frame off. It is attached to the sole plate. The sole plate is attached to the boot, and that's just how they do it. I think this is how they used to do it a long time ago, before UFS came around, or they had, like the manufacturer had their stock frame that was going to go onto their stock boot and it was riveted on or something. I don't know exactly how it used to be, but this is kind of going back in technology, which is totally fine. This is a really specific skate for really specific jobs. If you have a frame that you are sitting on and you want to get a boot, don't get this boot. You can't take this frame off. The reason why they do that is they have this massive H block. So this H block it's like it's more like 4 fingers. Yeah, it's definitely like a 4-finger H block. And they made this a one-piece design because they wanted to make the H block as big as they did and not have to worry about these wheels here hitting a UFS bolt. So they could make a frame that is super low profile, as close to the boot as possible, and you can still put 60mm wheels in, or 61mm wheels in. There's actually holes. When I take the liner out, I'll show you guys the holes that allow this wheel to pop through just a little bit, just to even get the skate lower and lower. So it's a really great design for skating a low profile 60mm frame, but you are committed to the frame boot combo. I've seen people do crazy mods where they chop the sole off with a saw and then they put their own skate. It's crazy. It's definitely, it's a big job if you want to do that. It's a lot of work, but for the average person just looking to get into skating, this is what you're stuck with. Yeah, the frame is great. H block is great. When I first started skating, I would occasionally get wheel bite, but it's almost impossible to get wheel bite now. Like, it's just, I know where the H block is, and unless I'm really off with my miss, which at the beginning of me skating these I occasionally was, you're not gonna bite your wheel. There's just too much protection going on with that H block, and it honestly feels like skating. You get the benefits of skating flat, which is the speed and the agility, but you also get control, but you also get the benefit of having a anti-rocker setup or freestyle setup. It's like you have a mini freestyle H block down there. So you get the best of both worlds with flat and not having to worry about wheel bite. So that is the frame. Let's talk about the soles. The sole plates alone are the reason why I got this skate. I was interested in skating flat, but I also wanted a massive sole plate because I was coming from Shadows, which is now Shadows, or I was skating Shadow, which is now Shadow with an S. They spelled it correctly. I'm not saying the way before was correctly, but it was definitely a unique spelling. So now Shadow is owned by USD, and I think they almost have a very similar sole plate going on here. And I'll show you guys what it looks like. I drilled a bunch of holes in the bottom of my sole plate. If you guys are not familiar with my channel or some of the videos I've made before, I can link to the experiments I did up here, but the holes do not come with the skate. I drilled these myself. But here's the H block. It's massive. There's the negative. There's the positive. It's almost like the negative is as big as the positive. And that's the whole reason why I got this skate. I love doing negative tricks, and I wanted a big negative plate. And I heard that the Aeon had a big negative plate as well as a big sole positive plate. So that's why I got this. If you are more, if you like the Rossi skates or like the Them skates with smaller, kind of more advanced sole plates, if that's what you're used to, this is definitely going to be a little bit of a transition, but this is what I was used to before I even got the skate. So I like the big, wide sole plates. It makes top sides easier. So that's why I got them. And it makes negatives easier as well. So that is the sole plate. So let's talk about the hardware now, and specifically the axle hardware. If you guys noticed, I actually took out axles 1 and 4 and replaced them with some 50/50 hardware. It's a bit shinier. Also has a round shape to it versus the flat head shape. The reason why I did that is because I like the 50/50 hardware, and it was actually working in axles 1 and 4, but for some reason, I don't remember why I couldn't get it to work in axles 2 and 3. The reason why I took out half of the hardware was because I noticed the hardware I was working with on the stock Aeon, the Aeon hardware, it was a little soft. I say that as a person who tends to over-tighten things. I was a little aware of the softness of the hole that the Allen key goes into. I stripped one of the bolts immediately when I first got these skates, and I realized that, I don't know, I feel like the steel Allen key tools are just so much harder than the hardware, and me like just kind of over tightening things. One of the Allen keys slipped and stripped the opening to the hole, so I saw that was going to be an issue for me. Even like gently tightening, I noticed that, I don't know, I felt like the hardware was just giving a little. I wanted to conserve the hardware as long as possible, so I took out 1 and 4, replaced it with this 50/50 hardware, which I think is just nicer hardware. I've never stripped a 50/50 axle bolt, and I really like cranked down on them. I set those 4 that I took out aside, and when these ones that I'm skating now got unusable, I just got them out and put in a fresh bolt that had a not rounded Allen key hole. So I was not a fan of the hardware. I noticed it sucked, and I think it's just cheap hardware. The hardware that holds the 45-degree straps, awesome. Cuff bolts, never had an issue. They always stay tight. I do occasionally, it needs a half a turn every once in a while, but it's great hardware on the cuff bolts. Let's talk about the buckle. So I actually replaced my buckle as soon as I got it. I think I took my buckle off of my Vim skates, which is just black, all metal buckle. It's the same exact design, but I noticed that the Aeon had a plastic piece. This was a plastic piece instead of a metal piece, which didn't really worry me. I think it would have held up just the same, but I just wanted a black buckle versus a gray buckle. And now that I've scratched all the paint off, it's silver now, so I guess it didn't really matter too much about the black. So that's the buckle. I'm going to breeze through some other things here. The laces, I love that it came with with hockey laces, waxed hockey laces. So that is super cool. I love these laces. I kept the laces. I didn't change that out. I think all skates should come with hockey laces, really. They're just superior to any other kind of lace. Let's talk about this 45-degree, this mid strap, because I did have issues with the mid strap. I like my skates tight almost all the way around. I like it to get a little looser as we go up the skate. So I lace really tight, I do the 45 really tight, and then I let the cuff kind of barely a little bit of motion. So I just like having the skates super tight to my feet. I know some people like looser skates, looser feeling skates, which is cool because that also helps with top sides as well. But yeah, the 45-degree strap, I had issues with it a lot. It would come undone, and it wouldn't come undone from this side, it would come undone from the other side because it's a Velcro system back here too. And I'll take this off and show you. So there is the inside, it's just a flap that Velcros to itself. And I actually can't take this off now because I got so tired of it coming undone, I ended up just sewing it shut. That was the only way I could fix this issue. I like the mid strap, but I just had to sew it shut because I couldn't deal with it coming undone in the middle of a grind or the middle of a session, and it was driving me crazy. So the way I did that was I just took the screw out with the, with the buckle here attached, because if you take the strap off and then sew it shut, you can't get it back on. So I just unbolted this, ran it under my sewing machine, and then bolted it back on, and now it does not come off. And if you get these Aeon mid straps, these 45-degree straps, I recommend you either do the same or get a strap that just has better Velcro or better something. I don't know exactly what's going on with these, but that was one modification that I made because it was driving me crazy. Now it's fine. So we talked about the buckle, mid strap. Let's talk about the cuffs now. Nothing special going on with the cuffs. They are, they're kind of stiff. I don't know, they're like a low profile design themselves. It's like a very minimal plastic, I think. It's bulky where it needs to be around the buckle, around the frame bolt or the cuff bolt, but It's a, it's a cuff. I don't really have too much to say about it, and I don't really know how to critique a cuff. It's nice. I haven't had any issues with it. It is V-cut here in the back, so you can get a little bit more forward to back motion with the liner, or your ankle, I guess. So the V-cut is nice. I do like V-cut cuffs. Let's talk about the liner. Probably the most, other than the H-block on this amazing frame, the liner was the thing that I was impressed with the most about this skate. And I'll take it out and show you guys. I'll show you guys those holes I was talking about. So there's a heel pad or a shock pad in here, which shock pad was awesome. It did the job. Wasn't anything fantastic. Wasn't anything crappy. It's just a decent shock pad. You could probably put another one in there if you wanted. So yeah. That's actually the wheel is able to poke down through, or I guess up through the sole plate. There's no hardware. There's no UFS bolts. It's just a hole in the plastic straight to the wheel. It comes with this plastic thing, which I recommend keeping in your skate, because if you roll through a puddle, the water will go up into your skate and get your liner wet without this plastic. So keep the plastic in if you don't want to possibly water damage or stain or whatever your liners. This is a MyFit second skin liner. This is probably the best liner I've ever skated in my life. And I would actually, I'm skating the Intuitions now. This is my current setup at the moment. Intuition liner, them 909, and then Kaiser Element 2 frames. I actually just put these on for a video that I'm working on. I would say this liner is probably the best liner I've ever had on my foot, and I don't know why that is exactly. You know, the Intuition liner is great in its own way. I just think this liner really complemented, the design of this liner really complemented the design of this skate. My foot is, I'm an 8, I think I'm an 8 or an 8.5, and I actually think this skate came in an 8, and this has like a neoprene toe, so if you put your foot in and your foot's a little bigger than the liner, your toes can push through the neoprene a little bit, and you can get a MyFit feeling. That's why they did the MyFit. I don't know if these are heat moldable. I'm pretty I actually think they are. I think all this heel area is heat moldable, and then this is all just neoprene down here. But this material around the heel and the ankle, I think, is heat moldable. If you want to know how to do that, there's plenty of videos on the internet, on YouTube. I think 30 and Rolling did one really recently. Really great information, clean video. He's awesome. He actually can. I'll direct you guys to his video. He walks through the process of heat molding these. I like breaking my skates in naturally. I like letting my body heat just do the work after multiple sessions. And that's just how I like to break in my liners. I like to suffer. The liners are great. Like I said, best liner I've ever had on my foot. And I think this is the best combo. The Aeons just fit well with this second skin. There is, obviously your normal wear and tear. You can see the fabric coming up there. Again, this is after a year and some change of skating these. So they've held up amazingly. And what's really kind of impressive about MyFit and most liner companies now, even the Intuitions do it, but they have this like odor resistant material. When the material is completely dry and it's been a day since your last session, they just do not smell. I get like a fabric material smell, but other than that, there's no, like my shoes stink. My shoes aren't made out of this material though. So yeah, they don't really hold on to stench or bacteria or whatever that causes the liner to smell. So that is awesome. This thing in the back here. So a few liner companies are doing this now, but it's like extra support. So it's like this Velcro plastic piece. So there's the piece itself, and then it's actually just Velcroed on. I never took this off, so it's actually in the same position I got when I got the skate. I just left it alone. It seemed to be on there pretty symmetrically, and it adds a little bit of stiffness to the skate, which is nice. Yeah, it's one of those liners that just lace up here. They don't lace down here. Don't think they need to with this lacing system. I highly recommend this liner if you're skating an Aeon. So let's see if I covered everything. Got sticky notes here. Wheels, frames, soles, cuff, liner, buckles, laces, hardware. I think that is everything. If you guys have any questions at all about the skate or the setup or whatever, leave them in the comments down below and I will be sure to answer them. Like I said at the beginning of the video, this skate is not available anymore, but it's a USD Aeon 60 millimeter. You kind of review one, you reviewed them all. The main difference between what they're selling now and this specific model is this is a gray Aeon with a coat of silver paint on it. And I felt like at the beginning of skating these, that silver paint really helped with the lack of stickiness in the soles. I know I've heard that Aeon sole plates are notorious for sticking, and I've heard a rumor of it being either the black or the white plastic. One sticks more. I don't know how accurate that is, but I never noticed any issues at the beginning of skating these, and I think that was because I was wearing away the paint and not necessarily wearing away the plastic. Now it is down to the plastic, and I've done a whole bunch of experiments on the sole plates here, and they've definitely slowed down a little bit, but they are still a great skate. If you guys want to help me out, just subscribe to the channel. It's free, and it's the best way to kind of make sure my content gets seen by the inline skating community. If you don't want to do that, but you like today's video, go ahead and give it a like. Ring the bell for notifications so that way you know when my videos go up. And I will see you guys in the next one.